Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Adrian Manessis from myosh, and welcome to our webinar, Engaging Learning Experiences, Elevating HSE Knowledge with myosh and Mybrand Digital. Today, I'm joined by Glenn Mora and Jade Sweeney from Mybrand Digital, and we're thrilled to explore how myosh and Mybrand Digital are revolutionising health and safety and environmental training. This session is packed with innovative strategies to captivate your audience and to make training programs more engaging and effective. We'll dive into dynamic tools that enhance the learning experience, including voiceovers, animation, music, and captioning techniques. Additionally, we'll showcase, in fact, I'll showcase the myosh online learning platform and highlight Mybrand's digital bespoke e-learning solutions and extensive library of courses designed to elevate your team's HSE knowledge. This is a must-attend to anyone looking to enhance their organisation's HSE training with engaging and effective e-learning solutions. Now, we encourage as much interaction and participation as possible, so be sure to send any questions or thoughts you have along the way in our chat or question and answer boxes. Today's session is being recorded, so be sure to send it. We'll be sure to send it out to everyone who has registered today, as well as upload to our social channels like YouTube and our website as well. So without further ado, let's welcome Glenn and Jade to the session.
Okay, thanks for that, Adrian. My name is Glenn Mora. I'm the founding partner of Mybrand Digital. Firstly, I'd like to thank myosh for inviting me as a guest on this webinar. So Mybrand Digital is an e-learning content design and development company, and now a proud partner with myosh. I'll just start with an overview of who we are and what we do. And Jade Sweeney, my project manager, will talk you through the latest technologies being used in e-learning. Okay, so next slide. I started my business career as a founding partner of Mybrand Digital, which was a branding technology company. Next slide. We had a team of designers, branding specialists, and developers, and we were based in Subiaco. I think we had around 25 staff at the time. We created branding, marketing material. On the next slide, you'll see that we created a lot of corporate logos, brand revitalization projects, websites, and mobile apps. Then as time went on, we created an e-learning technology, which was called depict, and we actually listed that on the ASX in 2015. The company and the technology was then purchased by another tech company. So I moved into my next venture, which is Mybrand Digital, and we are basically focused on developing custom e-learning content. And over the last 5 years or so, we've developed a library of the most popular e-learning courses. So what I would do is I'll just start with the custom, which is the next slide, custom e-learning content. So what we do here is we work with a lot of different companies. So some of the clients I work with are NIW. This is one of our modules, psychosocial hazards, that we developed for them and branded up for them. EDL, which is an environment management awareness module. And John Holland, which is a foundation of HSE module. On the next slide, these are some of my government customers that I work with. So I work with Unity Water. And with all these clients, we develop a lot of different modules for them. So these are just a couple that we've picked just to showcase. So for Unity Water, risk management, Central Highlands Regional Council, general induction. And we do a lot of company inductions, onboarding inductions, site inductions, contractor inductions. For the YMCA down there, we did a people support and service, and for New South Wales Institute of Management, we did a foundations and nutrition for sports performance. And as you can see with these, there's so many different topics. So whatever topic you have and you want to educate your staff or your contractors, we can develop e-learning content for it, obviously. So some of my mining clients, if you could just go back one, some of my mining clients are Regis, shutdown inductions, evolution, psychosocial hazards, and batch fire fatigue management. So I'm now very excited to have partnered with myosh, who I believe is one of the most versatile workplace safety solutions going around, that also have a very nice little learning management system where they can push out all this content. So we now have around 36 of the most popular HR and H&S e-learning modules, and it's constantly growing. So we are building this content, and the next content will be a lot of management content, which will be coming up. So all of these modules have been built with Australian Voiceover, background music, closed captions, interactivities, video animations, scenarios, interactive knowledge checks, and can be custom branded to your business, which I think is really exciting. And Jade will talk more about those technologies shortly. So if we just go back one, Jade. So if we have, these are the topics that we have in our library at the moment. So we have bullying, sexual harassment and discrimination, diversity, inclusion, customer service, health, wellbeing, fatigue management, cybersecurity, social hazards, privacy awareness, drug and alcohol, fraud, bribery, corruption, complaint resolution, job safety analysis, code of conduct, hazard reporting. So that you'd say they're kind of in our HR suite of products. And then in our more health and safety products, we have hazardous manual tasks and ergonomics, asbestos safety, working at heights, working in confined spaces, hazardous substances, plant and equipment, and the list goes on there. And most of these topics have been developed from feedback from clients. So over all these years working with these clients, we've constantly had clients going, look, we'd really like an evacuation module, or we'd like an incident reporting or cybersecurity. And we've really picked out what we think are the most popular. And obviously this will keep growing as we go along. And saying that, all these topics are now with myosh, and myosh are going to offer a 20% discount on the subscription fee. So what that means is you can subscribe to 10 modules, you could subscribe to 20 modules, or you could subscribe to the whole 35 modules. We can then custom brand those modules to your business. We can even add more content. So there might be something very specific to your business, and we can actually add that, get the same voiceover dropped in and build it to your business. And we do that with quite a few clients where we add some more content specific to their business. And we'll keep them updated if legislation and information on the topics change. So that's a bit of an overview of that. I'll pass you across to Jade, who will now talk more about the technologies we use in our modules. And there's a lot of effort, energy put into this area. Our team, we have best practice meetings every month. We're constantly researching new things that we can develop, new ideas of how we can make our content constantly improve. So I'll just put you on to Jade.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for that. So this part of the session, I'm going to go through, as Glenn mentioned, some of the different technologies that we use in our library modules. So we'll go through literally these topics. So Australian Voiceover, interactivities, scenarios, animations, interactive quizzes, and closed captions. So we get a little insight into how these modules actually look and how they work in practice. So Glenn mentioned earlier that we use Australian Voiceover. I will note that we have been using a little bit of AI here and there, but I don't know if any of you guys have used AI yet. It's not like perfect yet, but it is getting there, and I think it will be there soon. But our preference is definitely to use actual voiceover artists. And we find that using professional Australian voiceover in our library makes the content more relatable and more engaging. And so these 4 voices will become familiar as you go through our library modules. So I'm just going to play these so you actually can hear how they sound.
At our company, we believe that your point of view matters and everyone deserves to feel included.
Working at heights is defined as the potential to fall from one level to another.
Driver safety is an important element of a safe working environment that involves motor vehicles.
Isolation of energy sources is an important control in preventing unexpected activation during inspections, repairs or other maintenance activities on plants and equipment in the workplace.
So we found that these 4 are very popular for our custom module clients as well. But there are so many voiceover artists that you can choose from, and different voice styles that will suit different topics and different businesses. So definitely not limited to 4. There are many that you could choose from if you had custom work. But these 4 are the ones that you will hear in our library modules that we are mainly talking about today. So those are the voices. Now I'm just going to give you some examples of those voiceovers actually in action in a module. So this one is Abby.
Policy and procedure disputes. Customer dissatisfaction. Communication.
And then the next one is Day in action.
Place. And the types of fires will vary greatly depending on the type of business and its operations. Being prepared and knowing how to respond to a fire emergency is critical for ensuring the safety of yourself and others. In this module, we will explore fire basics, the 6 classes of fire, types of fire extinguishers, and how to respond to a workplace fire. Select Next to continue. Workplace.
Right, so we also include interactivity. So we find that this enhances retention and application of information by encouraging participation and critical thinking. So just got a couple of examples of interactivity. So here is one from our forklift safety module.
Lift. Select each part of the forklift to learn more. Cab. Central part of forklift where the operator sits. Controls. Includes the steering wheel, brake pedal, accelerator pedal, hydraulic lift and tilt controls. Lift.
And here is another one.
Inspection. Respirators must be inspected before and after each use. Let's take a closer look at this now. Select each option shown on screen. Head strap or harness. Check webbing for damage. Look for deterioration of elastic or fraying edges.
I think you get the idea with that one. I'll just skip on.
Inspection.
And another thing we include in our modules are scenarios. So scenarios in e-learning bring real-world context to the material, making it more relevant and engaging. So I've got a couple of examples here.
Your team is responsible for ensuring fall protection measures are in place for elevated work tasks. You need to select the appropriate fall protection system for a specific task. Which option would be the most suitable choice? A. Fall restraint system. B. Fall arrest system. C. No fall protection required. D. Any system can be used interchangeably.
Now, something to note with this example is that actually was AI voiceover. So I don't know if you spotted the difference there, but there is a bit of a difference. But we use AI often for scenarios or just little snippets of videos rather than for a full module. And I think that it does the job. Okay, next one.
Your team is responsible.
Yeah, so scenarios can also provide a safe space for learners to experiment and learn from mistakes without actual real-world consequences.
When Matt arrives, the customer service officer, Beth, is busy discussing another matter with her colleague. She briefly glances his way, but continues her conversation for another 2 minutes. Once done, she calls Matt over. She quickly completes the transaction and as she hands his receipt, tells him he should just pay online next time. Matt takes the receipt, but leaves feeling a little disgruntled.
And here are some examples of animations. So animations capture the attention of the learner and make complex concepts easier to understand by visualizing information. Rather than having pages and pages of text, it's nice to break it down into something more visually engaging. So here's a couple of examples of that.
Environmental hazards are the harmful effects to flora, fauna, or the environment. This includes soil, water, and air, including the ozone layer.
As to the behaviours that make people feel valued, respected, and have a sense of belonging. An inclusive workplace is one where every employee feels valued while acknowledging their differences and how they contribute to the workplace culture and the business outcomes. Let's explore what being inclusive means and ways to become more inclusive. Select each topic to learn more. What does being inclusive mean? It means including others as well as including yourself. For example, in a workplace lunch, you could invite someone to sit with you while having lunch. If you want to feel included, include others. As to the
Here's another one from our
appointed by the
warden
organisation and provided with specialist warden training. There are a number of different types of wardens, but they all share the same primary responsibilities. Improve and implement emergency response and control procedures. Prevent emergencies wherever possible through inspections and identification of potential hazards. Communicate hazards to other workers. Implement controls for identified hazards. Lead emergency and evacuation training, including fire drills. Know the location of all exits and evacuation routes within the facility. Help in the event of an emergency. In addition to these core responsibilities, individual wardens have additional roles and responsibilities. Let's look at these now. All
right, so moving on to interactive quizzes or knowledge checks. So quizzes and knowledge checks, they help to reinforce the content covered, which aids in long-term retention and understanding, and it also helps workplaces assess and track progress. So in our modules, we have both knowledge checks and quizzes. So a knowledge check is usually after like a bit of content, just to double check the knowledge as the learner goes through, whereas a quiz is to check the knowledge of the whole module. And some clients like that to be graded, so you need to get a certain result before you can pass the module, and that's a great way also to know whether learners have actually completed the content. So I'll just give you an example of these interactive quiz questions. And here's another one. Fantastic. Another thing that we have in all of our library modules is closed captioning. So closed captioning makes content accessible to learners with hearing impairments, ensuring that everyone has equal access to learning resources, which is really important in the workplace. So you'll just see in this video that CC down here, I know it's very small, so you'd be able to full screen this on your own computer, but once CC is clicked, then the closed captions show up.
Welcome to our hazard reporting module. Reporting uncontrolled hazards in the workplace is an important role for all workers. In this module, we will explain how to identify and report uncontrolled hazards in the workplace.
All right, and I think Glenn mentioned this earlier. So each of these modules, like they can be custom branded to your brand guidelines. So this example actually shows it's the same slide, but branded in 4 different ways for 4 different companies. So that first one is the standard Mybrand Digital branding. And then obviously we've got Salic Australia, Lockhart Energy, and the Y, all custom branded there. So you can see how you can really make these modules look like your own. And I've just got another example of that on this screen. So once again, the first example is Mybrand branding, and the rest is the custom branding. And Glenn also mentioned at the start that some of our clients like to add some of their own content to our modules, and that's an example here, Central Highlands Regional Council in the bottom right there. So they have changed the wording slightly, and they've also added their own procedure there to be downloaded at the start. So that's also possible. So also, yeah, we always keep up to date with the latest legislation. So each state has its own legislation on many of the topics in our library. We subscribe to each of the state government legislative websites for each topic, and we are notified when there are changes. So we're constantly updating our library so that they are up to date as well. All right, over to Adrian to talk about how this integrates into myosh. I'll just stop sharing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jade. And thank you, Glenn. It's wonderful to see some great content being produced. We actually did have a question that I might just pose to you right now before I go into where do we house this content and how we can integrate it into our everyday processes. So one of the questions that came up was, is any of this content available for preview? So I guess people might want to have a bit of a look at it and see whether it suits their organisation. Jade, or yep, I think there you go.
Did you want to jump in here, Glenn?
Yeah, I can jump in. Yeah, absolutely. So you can just leave a message with myosh, or you could email myself, which is glenn@mybranddigital.com, and I can send you links to all of those modules and you can view those.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next thing that we'll look at is I'll share my screen and we'll have a look at how this integrates with the myosh system. So bear with me just for a second. Okay, so first of all, I'm currently in the online. I am now. I'm trying to do the host presenter as well as actually show myosh at the same time. So hopefully everybody can see my screen where we're seeing an in-progress online learning session there. So what's actually happening here is I'm logged in as a user and I'm looking at my courses. So this will tell me what's in progress, what I haven't started yet. So if there's things that I need to do but I haven't done, they'll show in here. And if I've completed some, they'll be in here as well. Now, as an administrator, what I can do is I can invite people or enroll people into courses in a few different ways. So one way that you can enroll someone into a course is you can go to the admin section and go to enrollments. And then you can also see inside there who's been enrolled and where they're at with it and when they've last accessed it and so forth. If I want to enroll someone, I can enroll someone in one or more courses. Okay, so I'm going to choose the discrimination one, but I could choose as many courses as I want, and I can search for courses if I choose to, because there's obviously a lot of modules that you can select from Mybrand Digital. You can also search for names or search for sites, divisions, departments, whatever you want to search for, and it will come up with all the options. So I could start typing for Mount, and then it'll come up with all the people that work at Mount Bryant, for example, and I could then select all of those people. Or alternatively, I might want to just start searching for a particular name and Ella. I have to spell it correctly first, of course, and then I can I can select the name there. So then I can just choose enroll, and now if I've chosen more than one course, then it would have enrolled them in more than one course. And secondly, if I selected multiple people with multiple courses, they would have all automatically been enrolled as well. Now, our system also has the capability, if someone has an occupation requirement, so someone has a requirement where they have to do something because they belong to a certain occupation or they work at a particular location, the system can now be configured to automatically enroll people into those courses and automatically enroll them into those courses. So that takes out the work of having to try to, manually say, oh yeah, we've had 5 people join today. I have to invite each of those. They'll automatically be able to be enrolled by simply being added into the myosh system as with a particular occupation for a particular location, and also it handles secondary occupations as well. Now, if I go back to my courses now, what I should see is I now see that there's not started and there's in progress. So if I click on start course, that will now start the course up. I'll only let it go for a few seconds, or I might have pop-up blockers or whatever. So I'll just let that do its stuff. Okay, and then I simply click on the link there.
Welcome to our module on discrimination, harassment and bullying in the workplace. Select begin to start this module.
Okay, then I'll choose begin, and then it would just take me through the course. So I'll just do that very briefly, and then I'll move back to...
We will explain everything you need to know about these topics. And by the end of the module, you should be able to 1. Define the meaning of discrimination, harassment and bullying. 2.
Okay, so at this stage, let's say I've been interrupted and I need to go off and, I need to go off and do something and come back to the course later. I can easily do that by just simply closing the course. It actually updates the details of the course, and it then says my progress has been saved. So it'll remember where you're up to, basically, and then you can go straight back to where you were. Okay, so that's basically providing us a way of getting straight back to the online learning courses and then see the details. Now, if I go back to my online course again, which I'll just find it down here somewhere. So if I go back to my online learning course and I jump back to my courses now, obviously most people won't see the admin section, but I'm logged in as an administrator today. You'll now see that both of these courses are in progress, and I can continue either of them if I wish to. Now, that's not the only way that you can join a course. You can also join a course by receiving an email notification automatically from the system as well. So once someone's been enrolled, they can receive an email notification, and then from that email notification, they can just simply click on the link, and then you can control the layout and formats and the content of these notifications. This is just a test one. So when you click on that link, it'll start the course up, same as what we did before. Now, the other thing that you can do here is, let's say you're in a situation where someone's turned up at your front desk and they're not part of your organization, but they need to do the induction before they can start work. So what you can do from our system is you can actually generate a QR code from the items itself. So I can go to the courses where we've defined the courses. And inside there, we can go into edit, and we can make it a public available course. So we can then generate a QR code, and then you can put that QR code at the front desk. Someone could scan that QR code. And in fact, let me just do that now if my mobile is going to behave itself. So bear with me for a second. So I'm just going to share I was going to share my mobile device. If it doesn't want to share today, we'll leave that part of the session. And maybe I can just do it. Give it one more try. Okay, it doesn't want to share my mobile today. But basically, what it'll do when you scan that QR code, it'll ask you for a name, an email address, and two or three details, and then they just start the course on their mobile device straight away, and then they submit it, and it will then do a variety of things. And I haven't really talked about this at this stage, but one of the things it can do is it can automatically create a training record, or will automatically create a training record within your training management module. So you'll see in here, this is a list of online courses that have been completed or are in fact in progress. So you can even set up notifications to say, well, if you last accessed it by a certain date, send a reminder, hey, you haven't gone back into this, you need to complete it. So they're all things that you can configure. You'll notice as I update that list there, Angela now has these two that are in progress, where she only had one of those before. Depending upon the course, you can be structured so it can put in pass marks or fails and scores and all of those things, but they're all configurable within the courses themselves. So it's keeping track of each of these, it's keeping a record of when they've done things, and you can then filter on this and show this in a variety of different ways. The other thing you can do to enroll someone is if you just simply create a training record and fill out the details, and if it's one of the courses, it will then automatically, it can be configured to automatically enroll people as well. So they just go straight into the course. So jumping back to here for a moment. So when you set up a course, you can define things like the duration, when is the renewal interval, so it can automatically remind you after a certain period of time when the course needs to be redone again, if it's something that expires. And you've got quite a few different options there. You've got the option also to be able to keep track of versions of the course. So if there's new versions of the course, you can see what versions have been there previously, and you can also preview the course before you go in there too. Now, the other thing that you'll find with the system is you'll also see that you can have a training matrix. So as you complete courses, whether they're courses or certificates or licenses or whatever it might be, they're all integrated together. You can then go in, it'll automatically allow you to manage this information. So we can look at things like, look at compliance. So we might want to look at the overall compliance for a site. So in this case, we can see that this site is 96% compliant. We can see whether individuals are compliant with what they should have completed. So remember, the system keeps track of what people need to do for their occupation, and then it can then show this information. Now, you might also want to do things like show dates in here. So I might want to say, look, I want to see when is it going to expire, if there are expiry dates defined. So then you can see these will change colours as it gets closer to that expiry date, and you can control how many days is it going to be before that, when you want to see it change colour. So one of the things here is it's really nice for managing the enrolments. It can auto-enroll, you can enroll manually, you can enroll through the training records module, or you can enroll people directly and multiple people through the actual front-end interface. People don't need to have the front-end interface that I was showing you before. So people don't necessarily have to be in these sections here. They can just receive a link and be reminded by emails. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my part of the presentation, and I'd like to thank Jade and Glenn very much from Mybrand Digital for presenting their content and being able to allow organisations to be able to learn effectively through great content, rather than just having pages and pages of slides of PowerPoint presentations, which many people do. The content is really, really important. It makes sure that people they can be tested, they can go through all those various different things that Jade and Glenn went through to make sure that learning is very effective. And then you've got a mechanism through myosh to make sure that people are doing the training and that it's being renewed and they're being enrolled in it. Okay, thank you everyone for attending today. Thanks, Jade. Thanks, Glenn. And we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.
Great. Thanks very much, Adrian.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye.